What's up, y'all? Happy Sunday. Yeah, it's 7-Eleven. Sounds like a great idea. Go to 7-Eleven real quick. It's 7-Eleven on Sunday, February 15th here. And I'm about to, I guess I've been kind of working on this song, and I figure, hey, I should live stream because I haven't live streamed with you guys in a while. And yeah, it's like an indie rock pop, synth pop kind of thing, and it's really fun. Lots of different analog synths, guitars, bass, live drums, etc., vocals, and I'm going to be in Pro Tools today. So if you are interested at all in Pro Tools, this will be a good one for you. But either way, the techniques, the stuff I'm doing, you can use any DAW to do any of this stuff. But yeah, if you're here, say what's up. And if you're watching the replay, then yeah, what's up? All right, let's dive in. Let's check out what we got going on with the session, and I'll kind of show you how I've set things up so far because I've been working on the song. Obviously, as you can see, all the stems are in. We have, everything's colored, everything's routed. There's a bunch of tracks muted because that's how I want to start a mix. Typically, I want to get those drums and bass rocking. And yeah, we got a master bus going. We have all sorts of stuff. We got the reference, the mix reference up at top. And then I have another song that I've mixed for this band, mixed and mastered. I never just mix a song anymore. I've been doing this for almost 30 years now. Believe it or not. I mean, I got into music when I was 12 years old. I'm 42 now. Mixing and mastering, I've probably been doing legitimately for about 20 years now. So still pretty fun, awesome, always enjoy it, and it's a different experience than writing a song or producing or arranging or playing in a band or whatever else. Mixing is just such a different thing, so I have to sometimes get in the headspace for it. But let's listen to the song real quick. Here's the reference mix. I'm just going to play that so you guys can understand what we got going on here. Okay, and then we will dive into what I have routed and talk about that. And if you have any questions along the way, just drop them in the chat here. Okay, so here's the reference. And the song is called Lately, and it's by a band called Tall Bike. Really dope. Really love their stuff. Kind of Talking Heads, Depeche Mode meets modern vibes. So I won't play too much of it, but that is the reference, okay? So obviously I got to beat the shit out of that, and I will. I always do. That's a promise and a threat. All right, so check it out. So I have, this is the last song I mixed for them, and I'll just kind of skim through it so you can kind of hear sonically where we're going to be going with this. This one's called 4-Leaf Clover. This one's already out, actually. All right, so that's kind of like where we're going, and that's really where I want to go. So again, reference, I'm going to bounce back and forth to the reference and where we're at now with the drums so far in this track, because you can see I have all my stems out on my drums in brown here, and I have some routing, and I'll talk about all that stuff, but just kind of bouncing back and forth, paying attention to the drums mainly. So here's the reference, and then I'll mute it so you can hear what we got going on in the current mix. So kind of bouncing back and forth from like the reference to the mix that I'm working on now. You can hear it's a lot fatter. I think it's much fuller, thicker, wider, deeper. Vocals are much more, you know, important. I think that's a big aspect of what I do for these guys, is just make it sound like a record, not like a demo out of a garage, right? Or a basement or wherever else they're tracking this stuff. So what do we got going on? Let's go top down. Right now, here's the master augs, variable mu. This is doing just a little bit of like very, very light tickling on the compression. I use this mainly for the harmonics. So I push into the input a little bit. You can see the threshold's very, you know, it's very high, and then the attack is super slow. So it's kind of a gooey kind of harmonic thing, I would say, on the high mids of the harmonic scale. So just listening to this. Literally like no compression is happening there, right? So we are getting volume, we're getting harmonics and gain. And sometimes you use plugins for gain, like straight up. So anytime you hear that debate online, if it's louder, it sounds better, all that bullshit, it's like, yeah, so what? It's louder, yeah. But we're gaining everything, and we're using gain staging. So I'm using that to give me gain. Instead of, for example, I could just go to every single track and gain them up at the very first gain, right? I could come to these clips and clip gain them, or I can go to Audio Suite and normalize them, right? Which I actually did on this track. So the first thing I did to prep the session, and I won't talk about all of that because that stuff is like super in detail, and sometimes I have an assistant do that, you know, prepping the session, routing, etc. But sometimes I do it myself, just depending on how busy my assistant is, right? And then the prep part, if you want to go like really in depth with that, I have 2 different master classes where I do like super in depth prep. You know, it's like aligning, checking phase, like routing, everything. And there's one that's reggaeton and one that's like more like rock, like modern indie rock with Maudlin Strangers. So if you guys want, you know, to grab those master classes. I sell them very, very affordably. I'm not trying to make any money off them. In fact, I don't make any money off them, but if you want to go more in depth with my process of setup, let me know. All right, so variable mu then goes to the BX Digital V3. I really like this in mid-side mode. So this is mid, mono section, and stereo section, right? So again, I'm using this for gain staging. You can see we are taking down 0.8, 0.6 dB, but we are gaining up 0.9 at 1.2, and we're gaining up, what, 0.4 at 38, and we're gaining up 0.8 over here at 1K on the sides, and we're taking down 1.3 at 281. Right on the sides. So this is really going to give you more width, and it's just kind of like set things into the track. So if I bypass this in and out, and we'll go to a part where the vocals come in. I don't have all the instruments in yet, so these are just drums and vocals so far. And bass, obviously, but here, so I'm going to bypass this in and out on these parts. I tend to think just like this. Mistakes, they come around, they don't miss. Quit looking behind you like there's something inside you, like there's something beneath. And I like this because it has the mono maker function, so you can put like 50 hertz and below in the center, keep it mono, so you're not getting that subby stuff in the sides. Now, Mono Maker is great for, I'd say, these kind of records. Not so great for like EDM, dubstep, really modern kind of shit where you want the low sub stuff to be pretty stereo, right? So, you know, there are no right or wrong things. There's always yes and no with mixing. So anytime you see stuff online, you have to understand that, like, it's really hard to get a point across in 60 seconds on a reel. You know what I mean? So ask questions, right? Ask questions in the comments. Don't naturally be one of those assholes that like goes to a 60-second video of someone talking about, you know, the mono maker and keeping 50 hertz and below in the center of the mix, and then be like, well, that's not always true. You know, in dubstep, in electronic, in modern music, we like the sub to be stereo. Like, shut the fuck up, right? Just ask a question in the comments, like, oh, so what do you think about keeping the sub in the mono when you're working on more modern stuff like, you know, R&B trap kind of stuff? Well, yeah, that's different. Every record's different. So anyway, I'm widening this out 115% and doing some balancing and gain stuff. And one thing I really love about this plugin is the ability to just kind of hone in on frequencies. So for example, if I click on this knob and hold, it's going to solo out that frequency band. And that's just a setting that's built into this. And yeah, this is coming out with some red here on the output, but if you don't hear it, who gives a fuck, right? These are 64-bit plugins. They have so much headroom in them. When you see red, it doesn't mean anything at all. Like, I always think that's funny when people are like, oh, you're clipping your plugin. It's like, can you hear it? No? Okay, shut the fuck up, right? But if you do want to be more concerned with this because you're just starting out with mixing and stuff, and maybe you're just like, your ears aren't like really learned, then yeah, you should pay attention to some of the red stuff. Maybe be a little bit more careful with it. Whatever. I don't give a fuck though. As long as this sounds good. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see this master's got some clipping going on. I don't give a shit. Like, that has everything to do with this, right? Any overs that are happening on the oversampling, usually see, because this is at 1, right? So it's not even on like oversampling. So sometimes when you oversample, you actually get more overshoots, right? But yeah, I'll go to like 4 on this for now, but because I'm doing a live, like, I'll switch it. Anyway, so that is that. And then Oxford Inflator is at 100% effect. Now, when you put the Oxford Inflator at 100, the important thing about this is now you can push into the input and clip it. Okay. So if you put this clip on 0 and then you push this to 100%, now you can actually push this and get some vibe out of the input. But if you have this like at here, and you start to push the input and you clip that, then you're actually like gonna probably bring in some distortion you don't really like. So otherwise, keep it at 100%. Typically, how I use this plugin is not at 100% because sometimes it's too bright for me, but because I'm mixing into it, I can kind of manage that, right? But typically I'm like around like 30 to 35%, right? But I like this one here. And then the output, you see, you can make up your gain, right? So for example, I'll start to push the input here so you could hear the color of it.
Found again, more seriousness. I tend to think just like this. Mistakes, they come around, they don't miss. Quit looking behind you like there's something inside you like that.
Right, so it's pretty clear and pretty clean, but gain staging is pretty important. You want to make sure you're doing your gain staging right. Goldfoss, just to clear up a little bit of the middle. I'm not going to go into super detail here. I'm just going to bring you through the rest of this. DS low mid cleanup 1 on the Synth 2, and this is at 2 times normal, which at the end, by the end of this, you can see offline 4 times ultra. The oven is actually a really fun one for me. I really like the color of this. A little bit goes a very long way, and you can see I'm paralleling it in by what, 20%. Right, so this just adds just a little bit of glue, a little bit of texture. That's all it's doing. And then gold clip, of course. I'll set this as I'm mixing. This is just kind of set up here for now, right? Like you can see it.
Found again, mysteriousness. I tend to think just like this.
Right, not gonna be really honing in on the master bus stuff until I'm further along with the mix. Like I don't have everything in, so it'd be stupid to start tweaking everything right now. Weiss Exciter, this is actually a pretty fun one. I really like this, and I used this on their last record, and I thought it was really good. Just has like a nice like texturizing depth, you know. Obviously it's gonna bring out like cymbals and stuff, but it also makes guitars and stuff kind of, you know, go front to back. You know, it's just giving some excitement. That's all it's doing. And I probably have this up pretty high. Like I probably go more so like 1.5. And then you can see the stereo width is up a little bit as well. But all this will be tweaked as I'm working. I'm just mixing into these settings right now, and then I'll tweak further as I go. God Particle, you know, try to hit the gain stage right in the box here. And then overall, I'll use this for shaping. Limiters at 8.3. So that's pretty hard, right? But I'm pushing the drums into this. So drums, bass are set. Like I set my level through these, good, right? That's what I'm doing. So if I look at the God Particle, most important thing is input, output. Okay, so check it out.
Found again, mysteriousness. I tend to think just
right, so we got bass, drums, and vocals in, and we're hitting negative 3.5 on the input here. Okay, so this is going to, I'm bringing this down to hit negative 2.7. This is the input coming in, okay? And then the output, you can actually go here, and you can see that we are measuring RMS and peak, and you can also switch this, the IO metering to short-term LUFS and peak. It's really up to you. Right now, when I start out the mix, I will have RMS and peak on because I want to see what are my peaks hitting, what is my RMS hitting on the input and the output, right? That's where I'm setting my drum levels, my bass levels, my vocals, and overall I want my vocals to be a little bit louder than the kick and snare, okay? So a lot of the times I use the snare as a good guiding point for the levels of the vocal, okay? So right now, I'm using RMS and peak. Later, as I get into tweaking the master bus and really finalizing things, which is after I got everything in and I've got the mix really tight, then I'll go to short-term LUFS and peak, and I'll start to measure my LUFS, and I'll look at the LUFS going out, right? So that's kind of where this is all set. And yeah, that's literally it. But here, let's go back to RMS and peak. And you see 3.5 in, and you see on the output,
found again, mysteriousness. I tend to
right, we're hitting some peaks of like -4, so it's good. You pretty much want this input to equal this output. Hopefully that makes sense because you're just making up the gain, right? So you're taking it down 3.5, coming in, and then you're doing all this stuff, and then you're coming out a little bit louder. Not by much, but a little bit louder. And then towards the end, while you're mastering, then you can go to LUFS and you can hit your LUF range. I think this song is going to end up around the -7 area, -6.5 LUFS, because I think that's where it'll sit nicely. It'll sound modern. It'll still be dynamic. You know, I'll have all my transients intact, but it'll still slap and be big sounding, right? And it'll translate to Spotify, Apple Music, phone speakers, etc. So that's the master bus. And then we have the all drum bass bus. And this is where I have the MV2 going to the Pro Q, going to the standard clip. Okay. And this is just like it's a little premature on the standard clip, let's be real, but I like this. I like the standard clip, what it does on the drums. So this is actually on a soft clip classic, but I switch between this and the Pro. If you go to the Pro, you're going to get like a much more distortion. You can just see how the threshold raises up. Watch this. So if I go to classic, boom, right? And then that's like more of a hard knee. And then boom, this is a soft knee, but you can see the threshold, the red, where it starts to clip, that is lower. And it shows you like, this is where you're going to start to saturate. And this is where you're at now, right? So listen to this. This is at 24%. This is going to be crazy on Soft Clip Pro on the drums and bass.
Found again, mysteriousness. I tend to think just like this. Mistakes, they come around.
So I do like the color of the Soft Clip Pro. I will just usually be around like 3 to 5% if I'm doing Soft Clip Pro, just so you guys are aware of the difference between those modes and why I'm using them on the drums. And what's that doing? It's giving me harmonics on my drums. So if I have harmonics on my drums, they're going to translate to smaller speakers. They're going to... The best way that I've ever heard it put, and I want to pass that on to you, is I heard this from Jason Joshua. The best way he ever explained it to me that it like clicked with me is when you add harmonics to the transient, you are adding high-end distortion, whatever, right? Those harmonics are making things come forward and it's hitting your ear like it feels like it's in front of you, right? So when you clip, distort, soft saturate, whatever the harmonics of a drum, because you have like the low end of it, the kick drum, right? It's got the boom, boom, right? But if you distort the kick, right, you're going to get that high end that comes forward in the mix, but then the low end is going to be set back. So you get this depth that happens. And that same thing happens with snare drums or any other transient information. And when I think about a transient, it's anything that that has an attack, decay, sustain, release. Okay. It's not just drums. And I think it's always funny when people have that argument online, like, oh, transient is, this. No, it's like, it's something that typically we say transient, we think about something that attacks fast, right? Right? If I hit the desk with my ring, you hear the high end. But if I hit it with my hand, you don't hear the high end as much, right? So that high frequency hits your ear faster. It's the immediacy of the attack. So all I'm doing here is I'm distorting that attack. And that distortion is adding harmonics, which is adding top end and stuff that our ears can perceive locally, okay? We can localize it. We can pinpoint it wherever it's at. So if I'm pinpointing it right here directly in front of me, then the rest of the sound is back and it makes the depth happen. So it reaches back into the mix, which is beautiful. And that way you can you can get a record really loud. And if you just have those transients in your face still and the back here, it'll still sound dynamic, right? So that's kind of the key to all this stuff, making records loud. But, loud is not always better. Like, I don't think that that's true. I think that's a misconceived thing. Like a baby cry being loud is not better. A siren being loud is not better. Someone yelling in your face is not better. So just louder is not better. That doesn't make any sense to me, and it never will. So when people talk about that online, I think they're just regurgitating what they heard some mixing or mastering engineer talk about, and weren't understanding the actual principle of what they were saying. So, okay, all instruments, Pro Q3 right here, we're putting into the sides, the 500. And then you can see I'm ducking out in the middle right around that. I would take this actually up to like 1200 because that's where his vocal really sits. Standard clip again, everything has to be on 8 times oversampling or 4 times or 2 times or whatever, but just you have to match the oversampling on all the all buses. So all drums, all instruments, and then there should be an all vox, but all vox is probably by the vocals, I'd imagine. Maybe, yeah, all vox. So standard clip, 8 times, right? So we have, even on the vocals, we're clipping, we're standard clipping. And here we have soft clip pro. You guys have any questions about any of that so far? You guys good? The mixed drinks bang. Get it, baby. Yeah, what's up? Who's in here? Hey, what's going on? Scary ass picture, dude. Scary shit, Gorf. Gorf 101 got the scary ass shit. He's stuck on Halloween, bro. It's February 15th, man. It's time to move on. Tell him Blair, what's up, man? Daniel, what's up, dude? Gutter Honey. It's kind of a cool name. Is that your band name? I like that. Gutter Honey. And the bear like dripping the honey. Getting that honey. Squeezing that hive. Honeycomb. All right, whatever. All right, so I'm going through all the all vocals, all mix bus, whatever, right? So first thing I'll do typically when I'm bringing in a mix is I'm going to bring in the drums. I'm going to bring in the bass. So let's start to do that. And actually, let's just mute the vocals for now, right? And let's focus on what the drums and bass are doing. So I have multiple drum or bass tracks. So this is where it gets kind of, I think, a little bit crazy, is you have a bass synth, you have a bass verse, right? So these two are going to compete. So what I did here is through the Juno, chorused out the bass synth, and the bass verse is going to be compressed, and then, you know, it looks like I ducked down a little bit of the EQ. Probably to make room for the vocal mid-range and stuff like that. And then on the bass here, 1176, same thing, and then probably the same thing on the Pro Q4, right? Yeah, a little different actually. So this bass dry and this bass wet are EQ'd pretty differently. But yeah, let's hear this part here, drums and bass. All right, so that's really thick, right? So right away, as I'm hearing that, I'm like, yo, that's fucking thick. We're gonna have to clear that up, I'm sure, right? Or else everything's just gonna be super fucking thick. I like it thick, but you know, I always like them thick. Like my ladies thick, you know? But here we go. So what I have to do now is I need to think about what's going on the drum mix bus, what's going on the drum master bus, what's going on the all drums and bass bus, right? So these guys, this is where your thickety thick stuff's going on, right? So I might have to handle some of this thickness here. And because we're probably doing some damage here, bringing up the low level, we just have to pay attention, right? So just to go through the plugins and think about what they're doing, bypass them in and out, listen to what they're doing to the thickness of the track and the low end. Okay, so first thing I'm going to think about is, I like this MV2. It is thickening it up because of the low-level information, but the drums might just be getting too noisy, yeah? So we might just be bringing up mics that have noise in them. Like this tom, I can see that it's like not cleared out. So what's going on if I solo the tom and listen to it? Oops, sorry. I didn't have my mic muted here, but you could hear that tom mic is like pretty noisy. It's just kind of bringing up low-level information. But let's listen to some other stuff. So we're going to this part. This is the part, the chorus kind of idea here. I want to kind of like uncongest. That's the idea here. So let's hear the overhead soloed out. We're just going to kind of go through these mics and listen to them soloed out. Now, obviously, when you solo out a mic like this, stereo mic, pair of drum overheads, and then you're going to like all these drum mix, drum master, you know, buses and shit, of course it's going to be weird, right? But right away we can tell like what is being brought out in those mics that we may want to clear up. Right, that's a lot. That's a lot of wash, mid-range, kind of, you know, lots of crazy stuff going on here. And it's mainly down here that I might want to clean up in the drum overheads, right? So, and another thing, I might want to put this on natural phase just to see if that will help kind of, so it doesn't pull as much to the left and right. And it's probably this side, mid-side EQ going on here. But yeah, I mean, I think I had the right idea with this kind of curve. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to get rid of this one and I'm going to compress and then I'm going to clean up the compression here. All right, so I kind of like just shape this a little bit, and you can see I'm basically turning down all the low mids and the low end, right? That's all I'm doing here, just turning it down. If I wanted to just kind of do this smart, you know, and not all these different points, I just go here and go boom, boom, get rid of them, boom, boom, and just bring this up. Very simple, right? And then, because these are they're the overheads. So sometimes in the overheads though, the kick drum, I like the punch of the kick drum, like the knock, which can be like 100 to 300 area. So what you can do is you can kind of come in here and just find that knock, right? So let's just find the knock of the kick drum in the snare. All right, and what I'm trying to do is avoid the of the cymbals that are going on in the overheads. So I'm just trying to find that kick drum going right, because as you hear, if I go up into 300, it goes right, and I'm trying to get rid of that. That's going to clear up the chorus. Another thing is I might automate this EQ on for just the chorus, right? Because maybe it's fine during the verses because he's not, you know, playing on that crash cymbal. So you could do this a couple ways. You could just duplicate the track, or you can add the automation in with the EQ. I prefer to just duplicate the track and then do some fades. But if you hear it here, the overheads here, I mean, really what we're getting the rim, we're getting the kick drum, we're getting the snare drum, right? And maybe we'll get a couple toms in there every once in a while, but we're not getting that crash going, right? Which is making that congest because now it's hitting all the different processors along our chain, right? Our drum mix bus, our drum master bus, our drum mix with the bass, right? The bass and drum bus here, which is, you know, the MV2 and stuff. So you're bringing up this low level information by bringing this up and the high level. So you're making it like, right? So you're bringing that crash is just eating up all this room and all this, you know, just everything. It's just eating it up. And that's what we don't want, right? We want it thick, but we don't want it like messy. I guess that's the best way to put it. But if you just take this and you go duplicate, boom, and you go, yes, everything, right? And now I can go back to what I had here and basically like, you know, just leave it. Like maybe it's like got to clean up a little bit of that, right? But you don't really need, maybe the 500 area, you know, gets a little boxy or boomy here. Just like kind of this idea is cool, right? And I actually want this back up because that's maybe where the rim is and the snare and some of the definition, etc. But then when we go to the chorus, we hit this kind of thing, right? We'll bypass this guy and then we'll have this guy come on, right? So now we get that and we get less congestion in this area. And the lows, low mids, and that cymbal going and washing out. So all we have to do is just find that area. So it's like right here-ish. And, you know, just listening to the track here, I think it'll be pretty obvious where that cut point is. All right, for now, that's what I'm going to do. But check it out. Now we can pop these drums together. Right, and then let's also trim out the fat on this tom mic, right? And also, even on this, we could probably go in here and just give it a Pro Q4 or whatever and EQ out some of this kind of boomy mess down here. So you'll see what's going on here with the toms. You can also hear the toms just ringing, right? It's just going, right? So that's another thing you want to pay attention to. Like, why have this mic open just making noise? And also skewing the stereo image, because if you hear, because it is panned, because it's tom 2, it's the floor tom, and we're doing drummer's perspective, because it's panned, now you have this like hi-hat in the right and this, you know, it's like, why are you doing that, right? So in here we can actually go, it's funny because I use this idea all the time in Logic Pro, but I forget the command for strip silence in here. But it's usually Control X in Logic Pro. So let's see if we could just find it in the edit or whatever. Strip silence. Here we go. Strip silence. So Command U. All right, so Command U, we can strip the silence here, and if you hit E, it'll like zoom in on the waveform, and then we can go to strip threshold, right, and find where we want to just kind of strip this down a little bit. And this is the minimum strip duration. You know, what I do is I just start like, with any edit, I want to just start like big, you know, just kind of rough it out. So let's go like there. And I think that's good. Boom. And that'll kind of give us this. And then we can go in here. And we can go boop. Right? Boom. And then we go strip. And then you go in here. And see that this is like where the toms are hitting. And I don't know, even this is probably the high tom, right? So I'm holding down Command because I'm in grid mode, right? Because up here you can see grid. You have to go to slip if you want it to slip. But if you hold down Command, it'll bypass that. I don't use Pro Tools a lot, but I know how to use it, and I've used it for many years. So There's just a couple, I'm just a little rough with it right now. But I do like mixing in Pro Tools. It's way better with audio editing than Logic is. So now here we got Tom 2, right? That's what we want out of Tom 2. We do not want pan to the right. You get what I'm saying? So you can also use a gate, dude. Like, do it however you want, right? And another thing that I love is comments. You just use a gate. I don't want to use a fucking gate. I want to do it the way that I do it, because if I want to get precise with this, I can get really precise with this. A gate, I have to sit there and like, you know, finagle it. And then on a different part comes in, it like hits differently. You know what I'm saying? So on this, I can just like set it exactly how I want it, right? Like this is how I want it. Bam. Right? So those toms are hitting just when they need to hit. All right. And I won't go through all this. I'm just showing you guys this process because I think it'll be useful for you if you're doing this in Logic or Pro Tools or whatever else, right? I'm just going to kind of increase the fade, right? There we go. Go like that. I don't know why I changed the fade shape. Like that was stupid, but whatever. All right, so here's the tom. Now, those are thick. Those are big toms. Now let's see what's going on with the EQ. So right away, I'm like, yeah, voltage down here. Don't need it. Don't care about any sort of phase shifting. Don't give a shit. These are just like big tom hits. So just make it really steep. Right? And then you're hearing like this kind of like click of the rim, which is fine. But like in this tom hit, I may need to trim down the low end a little bit. That's pretty typical of big toms, floor toms especially. I like them to be like thick on the bottom, and then I like to have a little bit of stick up at the top. But sometimes you just kind of clear out this low mid area, you know, 300 to 500 area. Yeah, great. And you can compress the toms as well. Sometimes I'll throw a limiter on them even, like just so they don't get over. So just go limiter, boom, and then I'll just set this ceiling at like boom and boom, and there you go. This really helps keep toms contained, right? You're not shaping anything. You're just automatically setting a brick wall for them so they don't go and eat up all your headroom, right? So that's all I'm doing there. And then, yeah. And now let's hear the drums and bass together now. I feel like I'm missing the high tom there, which is weird. Maybe I accidentally stripped the silence off the banger, because I feel like there's a little roll. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just imagining things. What's going on here? Okay, yeah, I'm imagining things. I'm gonna undo that, pop that back. Yeah, so here's what I'd do. I'd go through and I'd make sure all these toms are all set up. For now, I'm just gonna leave them how they're at, where they're at. But going back to the chorus here, this is what I'm gonna focus on, is kind of cleaning up the bogged down, kind of congested chorus area. And this is really easy. You can see exactly where everything is. If you turn on tab to transients, you could just hit tab. It'll tab to all the transients, and then you can just go A, and that'll cut everything from the right. And then I'll hit tab again, tab, 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 and then I'll hit S, and it'll cut everything to the right, right? There you go. Boom. And then I can add my fade, and maybe sometimes I like to fade in, right? Like here. Just give it a little lead room. And then there you go. There's your tom hit. This is such a funny comment. It's like, you must have just got here. I just talked about this. Why not use a gate? You should use a gate. All right. It's so funny. Because I don't want to use a fucking gate. It's so true though. But you know what I'm saying though? Like, honestly, because there's this like control thing with a gate that I hate. A gate hate. I have a gate hate. A deep gate hate. You know, everybody wants to use a gate because it's like, it's the easy way to do it. But I always think they sound super unnatural, you know? It's like, and then the next drum fill comes in and it's like, it reacts differently, right? So you got to reset the threshold and you got to hold a little longer, and then maybe the release needs to come up a little bit. You know, it's like, dude, why? It's the same thing as like just going in and trimming this shit. Like tap, 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 right? Tab to transients, go boom, and then tap, 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 tap. Oops, I hit caps lock. Tab, 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 right? And then boom, and then you can actually just go boom and hit F. And if your fades are set up right, you know, you'd have that that fade boom, and you're done, right? So it's all, I mean, that's, and it's gonna sound this is way more musical than a gate. Like, you could set exactly how you want it to attack a release, decay, everything. And you can hear there's a cymbal in there and a crash in there, and I probably want to go boom and go like that, right? And the rest of the ring out of the tom and everything is going to be in the room mics, it's going to be in the overheads, etc. I could literally get rid of that at the end, right? So just go keep finding that area, that sweet spot. And a gate, like, fuck that, dude. I'd be sitting there like programming the gate forever. Like, there you go. You know, just a little initial attack of the cymbal, all good. But see, now if I go room mics, tom, right, drum crotch mic, you know, I need to turn off this fucking solo. I love this solo, and then I hate it when it's actually when it's killing me here. Just go latch here, right? So now I got toms, room, and you'll hear this tom in this. See, this is what's tripping me out, is like, where is the other tom mic? Because you can hear the doot, right? Or am I tripping, right? I hear the high tom, but I don't see a mic for it. Which tells me I'm missing a stem somewhere. You feel me? Because like, that definitely has a doot. That's definitely a high tom in there. Pisses me off, man. I've already been chasing a shit ton of stems for this track, and I'm like, where are the rest of the stems? Why do I keep getting batches of stems? And see, this is not in here. Like, this is not the right tom. Yeah, I guess this one does have that tom hit in it. It's just very, very low. It's just like a little slappy. It's not a very good mic. Whoever mic'd this did not do a very good job. But I wasn't the recording engineer on this, so. All right, so here we go. So this is what I need out of this tom here. Yeah, it's so much different. It's like, doo doo. Like the floor tom is like mic'd really nicely, and then this one's mic'd like shit. But yeah, if you have that happen, you can go up to Audio Suite and you can go to Avid, and just go to the normalize, and then you can normalize it to like, you know, negative whatever. That happens a lot, I think, with stems. Like I'll just go take this down a little bit, right? Like -1, sure, render, bam. And now I have a normalized tom mic. Right? If we're recording in 24-bit, we should be good. So actually I'll go in and cut, because I could see this is where the gain kind of starts coming back up. I'll just blade this, and then I'll normalize this whole shits. Nope, that didn't work. Yeah, it's catching something else here. Weird. No liking? No liking? Why? What the fuck, dude? Let's see what's here. Yeah, okay. So I'll just have to pretty much go through all this and make sure it's all good. Unfortunately. Just showing you some of the editing. Like, that's really what I would be doing with all the toms. I know, like, I wasn't talking there, but, you know, that's how we get it. All right, so now the drums, let's say we went through and we edited all these toms. Next thing I would do is go back to this chorus here, right? And we are going to unsolo. And let's bring in this bass again, and let's pay attention to what's going on with this bass, because the bass feels a little bit too big and boisterous, so we might need to trim out some of the fat here. All right, and then for the that bass part, because it does have a lot of low end in it, I think what we want to do here is have this bass synth trigger a little bit of a duck when it comes in on the bass part. Just so it's like, you know, when this part comes in, it's going to take over the bass mainly, right? So what we'll do here is we'll just do like a track spacer is fine on this, and we'll let the track spacer input be fed by the bass synth here, right? So this bass synth will have to be the key input. I always hate that you have to make an actual send here in Pro Tools. You don't have to do that in Logic, which is always annoying. But anyway, so we'll go to new track here, bass synth, and we'll say just mono. Oh, it is stereo. Okay, it doesn't matter either way. But we'll say bass key kill, right? And then we'll go boom, create that, and then we'll send 100% to that. And then that bass key kill, we will literally mute it for now, but we probably end up just deleting that. And then on the track spacer, on the key input, we'll go to the bass input kill, bass kill input or whatever we just fucking made. And I don't even see it here, which is so annoying. That's what always happens in Pro Tools. So let's see if we can reinstantate the track spacer here. Track spacer. Maybe I just suck at using Pro Tools, but usually that should be pretty straightforward. I feel like, you know, where is the fucking send? Oh, I don't know. And then you have to go into the goddamn options and go to the setup and the IO and go to the buses. And I just get so frustrated by how this all works. Okay, so I'm looking for the bass kill here, which bass key kill, it's like it's here, you know what I mean? It just kind of pisses me off that I don't see it. All right, so anyway, boom, boom. Maybe because it's a stereo. No, because it would show left and right. It doesn't matter. We'll just use something else that we already have. So let's go louder left. Fine. Cool. Louder left on this. We're going to go to the output here. We'll bus louder left. Okay. And then sending there. So this is going to trigger it. And what we're going to do here is just the bottom, right? So we just do the full thing is fine. That doesn't matter. We'll go in and we'll set this though. We'll have the attack pretty fast and the release a little bit faster as well. And then now when this bass synth comes in, we're just going to duck out on the actual bass. Pretty cool little trick, right? So it's just going to duck it a little bit. I think this is even overkill. All right. And you can control this by maybe taking this down as well, right? Like just send less to it. But yeah, now we get that like without it, if you just turn the track spacer off, it sounds like this. Just kind of lets that synth like take the leading role there. What do you got here? Is there a certain order for plugins to get the best transients? I know the order affects things a bit. Yeah, I mean, you know, you have to kind of use your ears for a lot of the stuff. And it depends on what kind of transients you're looking for. Like, you know, I use a lot of parallel processing for transients. That's kind of my key to doing it. Yeah, the drums are smacking because we're going through. So these are like, you know, recorded drums, first of all. And I have on the kick out, you know, this is my chain here, right? So I even have like took the sustain down on the kick out, which I could even take down more of it because it's so big, right? Like check this out. This is the kick out. But it's also got a gate on it, so you know there's really no point in messing with this transient master and the gate, because the gate is pretty much taking care of that. One thing I don't like is the gate is kind of opening and closing really grossly, so I might just go without the gate. Yeah, see, I just don't fuck with gates much, man. Yeah, so let's kill the gate. And Transient Master will take the sustain down a little bit more. I mean, that works so well, you know. The Sonics one as well, the Sonics, you know, transient deal works really well as well. But I need to save this. I'm sorry. Save session as, go boom, 02/15/2026. Yeah, so this is going to be kind of the key, and then L1 limiter is just like literally catching overs. And this is like a kick out, so I'm not looking for a transient here. I'm looking for the transient on the kick in. And the kick in, again, killing the gate, man. I'm like, fuck that gate. All right, so there you go. You got snare, kick, claps, snare, bang. This little snare bang. Got to get the bangers going. Bangers and mash. So then we got room mics. We got drum crotch mic. This one's pretty cool. I put a Pro MB on this one just to tame the low. Somehow it's going through the keys augs, which is not good. We don't want that. I'm like, what the fuck? What happened? What happened there? All right, so here's the key, the drum crotch. Notice same problem, right? Like this is a pretty compressed like crotch mic, you know, for the drummer, probably sitting on the ground or something. But you get that right of the cymbals because it's during the chorus. So the cymbals are going to sit right in here, and if we just take this and find the crossover point here, it's going to be somewhere in there, right? 300 area ish esque. Yeah, it's just kind of annoying that cymbal being wide open right there. I mean, I'm going to have to like really treat that differently for the chorus. But yeah, this is like a starting point for it, right? And let's pop it into the mix here with everything. It's giving it some nice dimension, which I do like. I like the depth, you know, because like the crotch mic is like going to be so immediate. It's right there, you know, the drums are right there, but then you have the rooms, which are going to be delayed. So it gives good depth. Let's listen to these rooms actually for this chorus here because of the splashy kind of cymbals. Yeah, I don't mind it, but I almost want the room mics to be a little bit cleaner. Not much, but let's clean them up a touch, right? Let's go in here and pop in. There's this really, really clean way of doing this. Where do we got? The fucking isotope sheet. Yeah. Where is it? Clarity? Maybe clarity is the answer. It's either clarity or the spectral one. I think it starts with an S. Yeah, spectral shaper. That might be a good look. But let's try clarity to start here. Clarity mono to stereo? No, just mono. Okay, so clarity, we can just kind of shape this mid-range area, right? And we'll just kind of clear it up a little bit and brighten it up. And we'll see what happens here. I think this will be a good starting point. Doesn't have to be much. See, it's just like clearing it up just a touch. Like that's the key to this. I mean, that sounds so much more open to me already. Just the little things we've done to kind of clean up the drums there. Let's throw the vocals in now to see, you know, what kind of space they have. But remember, there are other instruments in this chorus part. Yeah, like there's this guitar in the chorus. There's this, I don't know what this is. There's like a couple synths going on, mini brute. There's a piano. You know, there's so many little things coming in and out. So we'll have to be aware of that. But I always want to start with drums, bass, vocals. And if I can get those really sitting all really nicely together, then I can start adding the other elements and not like those will be around and like kind of tuck them around because they're not going to be the most important element. We already have the rhythm elements, right? So let's go back to vocals and all Vox, unmuting this. On the vocals, by the way, we have the CLA 76, CLA 2A, classic combo, Pro DS, EQ P1A, and the Pro Q3 doing some shaping here. Very, very simple, basic vocal, but the magic for this vocal happens on the vocal mix bus and also the parallels. So vocal parallel comp, fattening, vocal verb, and the pulsar echo rec, which actually isn't the echo rec anymore, but you could see all these different, you know, here's the parallel, vocal parallel comp, vocal verb, altiverb, this 252, which I really, really love. And then the fattening chain, R-comp, doubler 2, Pro Q4, S1 imager, giving some width. And then that's it. There's nothing else on it because the other part of that is completely dead, I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, the pulsar echo rec is actually on it as well. So this is not the pulsar echo rec anymore. It's the AMS. And this is a Hall. And then we have Pro Q3 kind of shaping that afterwards. And then that all goes to all Vox. So that is the vocal right there. Like, and I'm just blending all these parallels and very basic EQing. Vox mix bus is where, you know, most of the processing is going on here. Pro Q3, BX Townhouse, which is like SSL style G comp, Sooth 2, EQ P1A, Neve 1073, Pulsar Mu. Okay, so quite a bit of processing. And then this has the vocal duck, room. So this is, again, like ducking the instruments. So if I go to instrument mix bus, let's see, instrument mix. Yeah, so up here, is it instrument mix or is it all instruments? Probably instrument mix bus. Yeah, sidechain here, coming in vocal duck, right? So Synth 2, ducking for the vocals right at the 1.2, 1.3, okay? So we're ducking all the instruments, but their instruments aren't even in yet. So, but you'll see, that's going to be a big part of that, and we'll finesse that towards the end. Yeah, that kind of thick, kind of like low, you know, like low mid, punchy, chesty kind of vocal. That's really his sound. So I'm not trying to mess with that. Like, I feel like a lot of amateur mixers would go and like try to, I gotta decongest his vocal. You know, they'd go in and just fucking butcher it and make it all like sparkly. It's like, this isn't a pop vocal, dude. So it's a big part of mixing, like just understanding taste. All right, let's throw this this Rhodes in. I want to hear it with the Rhodes.
What type is this broken thing found again? Mysteriousness, I tend to think just like this. Mistakes they come.
Yeah, these are all getting bus to the wrong bus, the keys aux. Like, these are not right. So let's get these all going to the instrument mix. Oh, okay. There's a keys aux. The Fairchild 660, Airy Q. Okay. I don't even know if this is really what we want, but keys aux, then it's going to the instrument mix. It was just muted. Let's pop this in. I think the Rhodes is going to be pretty thick, and we'll probably need to clean it up.
What type of commercial is this broken?
That's a lot of low end, right? So that's a dark sounding Rhodes. So let's go to the reference and just make sure that we're on the right track, because this is where the reference comes in key. It's like, how loud is that Rhodes in the mix?
What type of commercial is this broken thing found again? Mysteriousness, I tend to
really low, and there's actually a high end thing that is getting doubled on this probably this Oberheim. So we go do and bring these two in together, because they seem to make one sound together.
What type of commercial is this broken thing found again? Mysteriousness, I tend to think just like this. Mistakes they come around, they don't miss. Quit looking behind you. What type of
So this, my friends, is where we throw the brigade this bitch on here. Brigade. Yeah, this hoe. This dirty trick. All right, we got to put this trick on here. So this guy right here is going to give us, just spread it out a little bit. All right, on this, my favorite settings, I'm just going to go like boom, and then I'm going to go depth, go like boom, and then rate, I'm going to go real slow, and then that's really about it. And we'll switch between dual and classic, but check it out.
Oh, miss, quit looking back. What type of commercial is this? This broken thing found again. Mysteriousness. I tend to think just like this. Mistakes, they come around. Is quit looking behind.
Right, just kind of spread it a little bit, and then if you want to like throw that, get that bzz, that buzz back in it, I feel like you want to like use something to what is it? What was that thing called? Alkane, yeah. This bitch. We'll do some shit with this bitch. Throw this hoe on here, and then we'll go here and find like some like lo-fi grit. There we go. And then see if we can get, no, that's not it, because see how like it's all lo-fied. We want to bring this hoe back up here, you know what I'm saying? Get that hoe up there. Want that trick up there. All right, and then we're gonna give this a little distortion.
What time?
That sounded sick, right? And then maybe we put the brigade after the alkane just to see, like distort it and then, you know, give it more width. Now the brigade is actually taking the high end off, which is cool. I don't mind that. But yeah, that's what we want. Brigade. And then actually I don't need this Pro Q4 now.
This broken thing found again. Mysteriousness. I tend to think just like this. Mistakes, they come around. They don't miss. Quit.
It's cool. I like it. You could put some space around this this synth, like just give it like a room kind of sound. But I don't know if I want to go that far with this sound. I don't want to like tweak it too much to the point where like they're like, that's not the sound that we were going for. We had the sound we liked. Why'd you make it so different? You know, that's a hard thing with mixing as well. You can get into like sound designing and tweaking a sound so much. There's like, well, that's not the synth sound that they wanted. You know, like just make it fit in the mix better, right? But I like to add a little bit of dirt to stuff because like it makes other things sound more beautiful and more lush. So when you have that kind of vibe going on, you can give juxtaposition to things, you know, like if you make something a little bit dirtier, something else is going to sound a little bit cleaner and more pristine and like, you know, expensive. That's kind of the vibe when you do that, when you dirty shit up. Anyway. Yo, thank you. Appreciate that, bro. I prefer mixing in Pro Tools, but, you know, I've been mixing so much in Logic Pro lately, to be honest with you, that I've just gotten pretty used to it. I just think that, like, overall the workflow for Pro Tools mixing is just better in most ways, right? Especially with audio. But because, like, I produce in Logic, I'm producing a lot, so I'm using, like, I have, like, MIDI, I have, like, you know, my synths that I'll, like, record in. I'll have, like, vocals that are audio. You know, I'll have like a combo of a lot of things, and I'll be producing and arranging and all that. And then kind of like mixing and sound designing all the way up to the very end. So I do like working in Logic Pro when it's my own records. But when I'm working on client stuff, I prefer to mix and master in Pro Tools. Just because you could see like the audio just works way better. It's just like way cleaner. You know, clip gain and like the chopping and moving shit around, and like the waveform view is just way better. Like, I mean, shit, look at the waveform in here. It's so much better than anything in Logic. Like doing this and then going E and then zooming in and like really looking at everything. You could see like just a little bit of dirt here. And if I zoom in on that, like you can really see that it's sample accurate, you know? Like Logic sucks at this. Like there's a little click here. There's noise. You can see the noise in the waveform, you know? You can see every little detail. Logic is so bad at this. Like this, Logic cannot touch this. Like you can literally see in the vocal, the room and the microphone, the headphone bleed. And yeah, like the little click here, it's probably like a tick on a mic stand or something, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, let's just listen to this. It's like such subtle movement you can hear in that mic, and that doesn't even need to be there, right? So when you're editing and audio editing, Pro Tools wins every fucking time. He's clearing his throat. Little mouth click here, right? Like you don't need any of that, right? So like Logic, this would be so hard to do because you just wouldn't see any of that stuff. So you have to use your ears a lot more. And when you're audio editing, you want to use your eyes, right? You want to see transients. You want to see sibilants. Like you could see that that is actually an S or a vocal or a breath, right? So like breaths and S's look pretty similar, but there's another breath. There's a SH, right? So there's all this stuff in Pro Tools that works so much better for vocal editing, right? But yeah, I don't mind. I can work in either one. It doesn't really matter to me. But this is going to be way better for most everything, like when it comes to audio. Another huge part of Pro Tools that just kicks so much ass is like, okay, let's go here. Let's go to Melodyne. Okay, cool. Hit play.
What time?
And Melodyne, when you turn it on the vocal, it'll just automatically read, right? So it's not on right now, but and I don't use it much in Pro Tools. But if I went in here and I went to why is that? I don't know, man. I gotta like turn it on or something. Oops, I'm not even on the right track. What did I just do? I just deleted it. Fuck it, you know? Get rid of it, bro. So you know what I'm saying? A little rusty in Pro Tools right now. Yeah, like I got it muted and soloed. I don't know, something just like bugged out right now. So I'm like talking about how good Pro Tools is, and now it's like bugging out, and it's probably gonna crash on me. So like look at this. It's got some weird thing going on, some glitch. It's like glitched out right now. Reset, baby. There we go. Like why? There we go. Now we can unmute it. So if I go to Melodyne here, I don't know why though. Like this should just populate. It's ARA, right?
What time?
It should just show me exactly what that vocal is. But maybe I just don't have it on or something weird's going on. Who knows? But anyway, so that's pretty cool about Pro Tools. You have that built in. You have also, I believe, you also have like vocal line built in, right? So newer version of Pro Tools vocal line. So if you need a vocal line doubles or whatever, stacks, which this doesn't look like there's much going on. It's just like one vocal, which is kind of crazy. Crazy to like ballsy to cut one stereo vocal for a song nowadays. Like that's crazy. There's like this little ad lib vocal, but that's all there is. Just this one vocal. Weird little glitch going on here. But anyway, so yeah, cool things about Pro Tools, obviously our audio suite. You know, you can come in and you can go to, for example, Synchro Arts, vocal line. And if you wanted to vocal line anything, you just go here, select the track, and then you go capture the guide, and then you select the dub, and you capture the dub, and then you could just render it, like, and it's done. In Logic, you have to make 2 tracks. You have to do all this crazy shit, print it, you know, bounce in place. Like, oh my God, it's such a headache, bro. Like, yeah, audio editing in Pro Tools is the best. I know that was a long-winded answer. Yeah, man, cool, man, sick. Yeah, it's very noisy. There's lots of, I mean, you know, it doesn't sound super noisy. It just sounds like, you know, like little noises. But when you zoom in on the waveform, you can see everything in Pro Tools, which is so cool. Yeah, chorus sounds sick. Yeah, the Brigade is sick. I love it. What do you got? I tried the Model N Neve channel by Voostech on a mix bus day. I really liked it. Have you heard? No, I haven't heard it. Model N Neve channel. I've never even heard of Voostech. So many companies out now, man. Anyway, so yeah, Pro Tools kind of bugging out right now for me. I think it's because I started fucking with Melodyne. Like, yeah, look how easy it is. But now see, like, it's doing weird shit. Like I'm clicking here. Yeah, like something about the visual got weird. Here we go. Boom. I had to like reset the visual. It's probably because I'm live streaming. But anyway, so yeah, now I would just start bringing in these synths and stuff, right? What is this going on? Who knows? Let's listen to this.
Lately, I've been out of control. I've been obsessive before I mess up more. Yeah, lately, I've been out of control. I've been obsessive before I mess up more.
Like you hear all these instruments, they have so much low end and body and mids and low mids, and like you have to get shit out of the way of the vocals. Like right away when you put these in, it's crazy. Like the vocal disappears, right? Like right here.
Lately, I've been out of control. I've been obsessive before I mess up more.
Right, so you got to be really careful when you just start adding new instruments and you're like, oh, this is important and that's important. Like, nah, bro, the vocals are way more important than the fucking piano going bung, bung, bung. Like, absolutely not that important. All right, so go back to the reference as always, listen to the levels and, you know, make a judgment. Like, how loud is that? The little ARP thing.
Lately, I've been out of control. I've been obsessive.
So in the background, the guitar is the most important part there, right? So it's very important to play back the reference and listen because this is a band and they've been producing this and they've been recording it and they've been, you know, putting this thing together. So they know what they want. You know, you're the mixing engineer, you're the mastering engineer. You're supposed to make it sound even doper than it is. And that's always what I'm going for. But don't go and change the balance. Like, why would I have the piano really loud there when they got the fucking guitar up, you know? So here's the guitar. Let's pop this in.
Lately, I've been out of control. I've been obsessive before I mess up more.
And And let's obviously go to like whatever the guitar is going to. Guitar rhythm. Let's find it. Guitars. Right here, guitar rhythm. So on guitar rhythm, Pro Q3, harmonics, Pro Q3, Harrison 32. No clue why I have 3 EQs on here. I must have been very serious about this. You know, so sometimes you do some crazy shit. And then Tube KC1, love it, and then the H3000 again. So guitars may not need this H3000.
Lately, I've been out of control. Yeah, lately, I've been out of control.
Ooh, this is where I get to use the new Weiss. This is going to be sick. Okay, so this is a multi-band compressor, but it's very, very transparent. It's the best part about it. So this is the DS5, the Weiss DS5. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start with a preset. So let's see what we got here. Collections. Is there a piano, right? Like that's what we would want to know. Exciter too much? Yes. Okay, brighter mid-side, Mayer. Okay, here we go. Hi-fi bump. This might be good. Right, so hi-fi bump usually would mean like a smiley face curve. So you can see it's got like kind of taking down the mids, and then it's bringing up the lows and the highs. On this, all I'm going to do is just kind of tweak it. So we have, we're tweaking it down on the low mid and the low end, and then this crossover point, it looks like 500 to 1.8 and 1.8 to 8.6. That should be cool. Yeah, right? So basically EQing it so it's not this big, thick, full piano thing. And then we'll pop this in with the Mini Brute. And then all it needs is like some space around it. I think the piano could use like some Valhalla, like plate reverb, or I like the room reverb, right, for a piano. And we'll just kind of like mix this in. Give it a little pre-delay. Give it a little decay of like, you know, somewhere around 3. Who knows? We don't need the low. Let's actually take this all the way up. High cut. Maybe make it a little bit brighter. And yeah, let's try this out. All right, cool. Let's pop that in the mix.
Lately, I've been out of control. I've been obsessive before I mess up more. Yeah, lately, I've been out of control. I've been obsessive before I mess up more. Lately, I've been out of control.
Still feel like this is not right. Let's see what we got here. I don't know what I was doing here. What is this filter bish? I think same thing on the Weiss. We just need to clean up a little bit of the low mids on this. Should be good. That's nice. It's just kind of controlling it. But the cool thing is it's not like controlling the interesting like effect that's coming around the left side of your ear. So I think that's kind of fun. And then let's pop that in the mix. All right, so it's interesting. When I go with the H3000 and I'm trying to widen it out, I kind of lose the guitar. So I feel like now we have to kind of pan it. You feel me? Like kind of hang it a little differently. So I want to kind of keep this micro pitch shift where it's at. But I think for the guitar, we'll kind of like lean it over to the right more. And that sounded pretty cool, but again, the vocals are getting kind of lost, right? So we have to make sure the vocals don't get lost here. And this part might need a little bit of automation on the vocal. You know, leave me, I've been out of control. You know, this part right here needs a little bit of a lift. A couple ways to do this. Vocal parallel comp can really help with this. But vocal mix bus, let's go to the vocal mix bus. Vocal mix. What do we got going on? Okay, so maybe this is choking down a little too much. And maybe, just checking all this stuff here. We might want to push a little bit of the 3 there. We'll see. Let's see what's going on with the comp. Yeah, I was going to take some automation, and I think the main thing is all these instruments are obviously too loud. But if we go to like the instrument mix bus as well, because I think that's where the guitars are going to end up. Guitar rhythm, and then that goes to, what do we got? That goes to instrument mix, right? So all the instrument mix bus here. Let's just check this out overall and see if there's any red flags here. Instrument mix bus has this guy. We might need to duck a little bit more of that, but let's see what's going on here. Looking at any EQ, this all looks good. There's a little bit of widening, all good. Sooth 2, I think this is like where we're ducking the vocals, right? Yeah, so maybe we want to clean up that mid-range for the guitars and everything. And I'd imagine all of these instruments are kind of playing in that area. So, you know, go to that 400 kind of area. Even with the Weiss, we'll just kind of go in here and tuck it a little bit more. I don't think this is the problem, though. Let's go to the guitar. Guitar. Yeah, this guitaron. Let's kind of spread this a little bit more. I think this will help a lot. Oh yeah, see that Weiss really like cleaned that up. So here's before the Weiss on the two synths here. All right, and then here's after the Weiss cleaning these synths up. Now, here's the key part is that's great, but let's listen with the vocal and just hear how much it's making room for that vocal, because this is the most important part of it.
Lately, I've been out of control.
All right, so here's before the Weiss DS5. And listen to what happens to the vocals, how they come forward when we turn on the DS5.
Lately, I've been out of control. I better fess up before I mess up more. Lately, I've been out of control. I better fess up before I mess up more. Yeah.
Because now we're making room for that fundamental that this is just kind of cleaning up, right? Pretty awesome. Sounds great. So that's going to be one way to do it. And then we have the Valhalla room and everything. I still feel like these are just kind of like background, you know, instruments pretty far in the back. And the guitar is the main thing. But, you know, we're just kind of messing around until we feel like, yeah, this is right. That's right. That's what's up. Yeah. Hey, good to see you. Yeah, it's been a while since I did a live stream, so I'm glad I got to do this. Yeah, I'll check out their stuff. I've never heard of them. What's your biggest mix tip? I would say make room for the vocals. Always. Key thing. Like, you don't need to add more to the vocals. You need to get rid of other things for the vocals. So Just make space. Make space for the vocals. Most high key thing you can do in mixing is always have the vocals feeling supported. Never have the vocals feeling like they're fighting for space. These vocals right here in this chorus are having a hell of a time getting this right. But I feel like a big part of it is going to be just, you know, clearing and clearing and clearing space for the vocals, like continually clearing. And then if I want to, I'll add like a little bit of a touch more of something to help it cut through, you know, and be pronounced a little bit more. So for example, like at the end of this vocal chain, you can hear this vocal's very like rounded, and I want that, but maybe for the chorus to make it a little less rounded and a little bit more pointed so that we can like just hear it better. I might use some, you know, some saturation, some distortion, right? So this is a very easy thing to do. Oh, you know what? I should try. I don't know if I have it though on here. No. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Don't even think about it. All right, so vocal, right? So we have like tube, we have tape, we have transformers, and then I don't know, what is this? Oh, and synth. Okay, so transformer and synth. All right, so if I want, I can come in here and let's just start with some sort of preset. Light vocal saturation, like literally exactly what I want. Okay, so this is a really cool plugin. I really like the distortion on it. It's the Alkane by California Dynamic. These guys just hit me up and they were like, hey, you want to try this out? So yeah, sure. And typically I don't really expect much out of these kind of plugins, but I've been using this one on a lot of things. So here's on the vocal, and all I'm going to try to do is get a little bit more push out of this vocal.
Lately, I've been out of control. I've been obsessive before I miss a move. Yeah, lately, I've been out of control. I've been obsessive before I miss a move.
You can hear it just kind of like helps the vocal come through and like pushes it forward a little bit, you know? Obviously I tweaked this a little bit. There's like an EQ curve going on here. So it's got the low mids being cut down a little bit. I don't know if I want that, you know, I'd have to mess around with this, but I probably want to go to like the high mids. And by high mids, I mean like the mid range, really like 1K, you know, 1200, whereas vocal is. And maybe just push that just a touch, you know, just to see if that helps it stand out. So I'd look around like 1200, or I'd look around like the harmonics of that up top, like closer to like 3500.
Lately, I've been out of control. I've been obsessive before I miss a move. Yeah, lately, I've been out of control. I've been obsessive before I miss a move.
I mean, that shit is amazing, right? Like to me, that's maybe like the sound of the record coming into the chorus. It gives it a different style too. Like it makes it feel more like indie and more powerful, you know, just like a little bit more edgy too. And you got all these synths coming in and out. It's kind of cool. Like I vibe with that pretty heavy. So I'm just going between the tube and the tape. The tube is much more aggressive, right? Like you're getting that distortion and you're getting that like up top. And then the tape is kind of a little bit softer. So you might be able to get away with a little bit more of the EQ and a little bit more of, you know, shaping that or pushing it, or, you know what I'm saying? But let's try the transformer, because I always love a transformer.
Lately, I've been out of control. I've been obsessive before I miss a move. Yeah, lately, I've been out of control. I've been obsessive before I miss a move.
Like that's fucking fire, bro. Like I'm happy with that, you know? And I might take this down and I might find a cool crossover point here, because when you switch to the transformer or the tube, you get a lot more top end kind of distortion, right? The harmonics are going up higher. So I might just go with one of these more aggressively and then just use the high cut. Pretty sick. And all I want to do now is just kind of balance the guitars back just a touch more. So I feel like this could go wider now. I don't know. I'm still messing around with the placement of the guitar. Yeah, sick. I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm not like ecstatic right now with it, but let's hear what this distortion sounds like on the actual verses, because it might be too much.
What type of commercial is this? This broken thing found again, mysteriousness.
Yeah, it doesn't really work on the verses. And honestly, like, I might even back off a little bit on the choruses. I don't want to like change it too much. I just think it's a vibe and I would go with it. So I'm going to pitch that to them, you know, like this is what I'm thinking. And they can always tell me, yo, can we get less saturation on the vocal? I'm cool with that. I don't care. Like, I'm like, yeah, this sounds dope to me. And your record sounds cooler this way. But if you want me to back off, easy, right? That's the key, is pitch people on cool shit. And if they're like, nah, that's too cool for us. We want it more watered down. No, I'm just kidding. But, you know, it's easy to go back. It's not a big deal. All right, so I'm just going to kind of check this out. Go from like verse, where the alkane, maybe there is a little bit of a taste on this. Like we'll go, right? Just a touch. And then when it hits the chorus, it gets pushed a little bit more.
Looking behind you like there's something inside you, like there's something beneath now. You don't show to others lately. I've been out of control lately. You don't show to others lately. I've been out of control. I've been obsessive before I miss a more. Yeah, lately I've been out of control. I've been obsessive before I miss a more. You don't show lately. I've been out of control. I've been obsessive before I miss a more. Yeah, lately I've been out of control. I've been obsessive before I miss a more. Yeah, before I miss a more.
Yeah, just ride that part up a little bit. That's all I'm going to do. Yeah, baby. how is Alkane different than FabFilter Saturn, or are they basically no plugin, regardless of what anyone says. Like Saturn sounds so different than this. This is much more subtle. Saturn can go really crazy, by the way. But yeah, this is totally different. Like you just hear it like with your ear. It's very obvious. Like Alkane sounds completely different. I don't know how better to describe that. Like every plugin, especially when it comes to like saturation and stuff, they might be modeling different hardware units. Like they might base the programming on different hardware units. Like, oh, we really love the saturation of a Neve 1073 being driven, you know? But yeah, these all sound so different. I also love the fact that like I'm pushing and then the EQ comes, you know, like that. Saturn, you can do a lot of different stuff, but it sounds different. I don't know. There's no better way to explain it. They're absolutely not the same. They're very far from the same thing. So anytime you hear like a saturation plugin, it doesn't mean they're all the same. You know what I mean? They do different things. They have different colors. The harmonics can be odd or even or both. Yeah, depending on what they're modeling. Some plugins have way better algorithms than others. They work differently on different things, like vocals. They may sound really good on a vocal, but then like it might sound like shit on low end stuff like bass or drums. Yeah, it's just like, that's why we use all these different plugins. It's not because we're like, oh man, I just want to use all these fucking different plugins. If every plugin was the same, you know, oh, you Saturn and Alkane and you know, Sound Toys, you know, these are all the same. It's like, then why wouldn't you just use one of them, right? Like you get different colors, different vibes out of these different plugins. Completely different coding under the hood. So the algorithm, the way that it's modeling, like there's different modeling systems for making plugins as well, right? Not all plugins are developed the same way with the same development, right? They're all programmed differently. Yeah, I don't know how to answer that better for you, but no, they're very different. Saturn sounds awesome, but I just don't use Saturn much because it's so overcomplicated, so convoluted. Like, okay, so see how fast I got there? Like I picked a preset, threw it on the vocal, and this is what I got. Like, let's do that with Saturn. Let's like just try to do that.
Lately, I've been out of control. I've been obsessive.
Right, so nice little texture, pushing the vocal a little bit in the high mids, right? That's all we're really doing. If I go to Saturn and I want to do the same thing, right? Let's turn off Alkane. I'll go to a preset. Let's see, maybe it'll be better. Who knows? Color. I think this was like light vocal distortion or something, right? Drive. I don't see anything for vocals. Lo-fi, effects, clean, color. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. Saturate and color O. Maybe this is good. Let's check it out.
Lately, I've been out of control. I've been obsessive before I mess up more. Yeah, lately.
Like I think that's so subtle that it's like just feels like a volume shift to me. Let's hear drive. Let's go to like console crush. No, console drive would probably be a good one to compare to.
Lately, I've been out of control. I've been obsessive. Lately, I've been out of control. I've been obsessive. Lately, I've been out of control. I've been offensive. Lately, I've been out of control. I've been offensive before I mess up more. Yeah. Lately, I've been out of control. I better fess up before I mess up more.
I mean, that's pretty close, right? Yeah, like that's pretty close. So you can get pretty close. They sound pretty similar there, right? But then like the minute I start going, okay, well, what about the tube? What does this sound like?
Lately, I've been out of control. Lately, I've been out of control. I better fess up before I mess up more. Yeah, lately.
Right? They just have little different subtle textures and vibes, different workflows. Like that's a big part of plugins, I think, is like, for example, you get this kind of multiband thing going on here. And then in Alkane, you get like this EQ, which is totally different, right? So like in here, you can go in and go, hey, let's go to the low mids here and let's duck this out, right? Let's just hear that. Probably sounds totally different.
Lately, I've been out of control. I better fess up before I mess up more. Yeah, lately, I've been out of control. I better fess up.
All right, so now we're distorting everything more, but we're taking down the fundamental of the vocal, the 1200 area. All right, so there's a lot of different workflow things, I think, that are happening. The EQ is going to sound totally different. Yeah, but if your ears aren't super tuned to this stuff, just pick whichever kind of saturation plugin you think is best for your workflow, honestly. Like, that's the way I would look at it. I wouldn't look at it as like, oh, I can hear these subtle differences. Like, they're pretty subtle. I can personally hear the difference. Like, to me, Saturn on this sounds a little bit more plasticky, tinny, if that makes sense.
Lately, I've been out of control.
Right, it just kind of has like that tinny kind of sound, and that's probably because the EQ, you know, the mid band, you know, you could probably bring that up and down, and the tone here plus 7.3 on the high mids and the high end, you know, it's just like boosting that high stuff. That kind of starts to sound too tinny to me. But yeah, I could probably adjust this to finally find something that I'm like, yeah, that's how I want it. But I don't know, like with the workflow of this, I just kind of like, you know, picked one, grabbed a preset, and then just kind of blend it back. And I was like, oh, that sounds great. You know, it's just helping it again. Like I'm just using this to help the vocal come forward and stand out more in a busy mix during the chorus. That's all I'm using this for. So I think probably on this, any saturation plugin would do, you know, for what I'm using it for. Sometimes that 900 1K area can sound really like thickening, which I really love. But anyway, that's all the time I got tonight, you guys. 2 hours and 5 minutes streaming. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. I always like doing these when I can. I'm going to finish up this record. I really have to finish it up, to be honest, because I got a lot more records to work on. But yeah, hopefully this was cool. And if you guys liked it, you know, give some thumbs up, some love, and subscribe to the channel, share the shit out. And yeah, I'll see you next time. I'll try to do another live stream soon here. And if you guys have any questions or anything you want me to talk about in content or live streams, just drop them in the comments, you know. like on the video. It always helps, like, for me to understand what you guys are looking for, what you're trying to learn, and then I can kind of hone in on those things. All right, I'll see ya. Happy Sunday. Have a great week, you guys. Peace.